everyone. I, Rajeshwari Shirkanhalli, welcome you all in Nagesh Karasgi Orchid School channel. Students, we are discussing chapter number 13, Sound. In the previous two sessions, we have discussed different concepts related to sound. So, what is a sound? It is nothing but a form of energy. That is why sound is also called as sound energy. So, you know that sound plays very important role in our daily life. So, whenever a sound is produced, there is a vibration of the object which is producing sound. So, all the vibrating bodies produce sound. We have also discussed that sound is produced through a medium, means for the propagation of a sound, a medium is required. In the absence of a medium, the sound cannot be heard. So, what is a medium? It is any solid, any liquid and any gas. So, sound travels through all the solids, liquids and gases, but sound cannot travel through vacuum. What is a vacuum? Vacuum means it is absence of a medium. From a container, if you remove all the air, then vacuum is created in that container. And if you produce any sound producing object in that, like a ringing mobile phone or a bell, anything, then in that case you cannot hear the sound because there is no medium, there is vacuum. Similarly, we have also discussed that sound is heard with the help of one of very important organ of our body, that is ear. We have seen that ear is divided into three parts: outer ear, middle ear and inner ear. So, the outer ear collects the sound from all the directions and it passes through a canal, then reaches to the inner ear where the three bones named cochlea, stirrup and hammer, they amplify this sound, and then sound is converted into signals, and these signals are sent to brain via auditory nerve. So, these all the parts of the ear are very important for the production of sound. We have also discussed that sound is produced by different objects. We have discussed different activities related to the chapter. Now, we will move to the next concept, that is amplitude, frequency and vibration. So, what is meant by frequency, amplitude and time period of a vibration? So, let us move to the next concept, that is amplitude, time period and frequency of a vibration. We have learnt that the to and fro motion of an object is known as vibration. So, what is a vibration? It is nothing but the to and fro motion of any object. So, this type of motion is called as oscillatory motion. So, already you have learnt about oscillatory motion in your lower classes. What is an oscillatory motion? It is the motion which takes place back and forth, means to and fro. So, oscillatory motion is the motion of an object which takes place to and fro or back and forth. You have already learnt in your lower classes about the oscillatory motion and its time period. The number of oscillations per second is called the frequency of the oscillation. So, students, here frequency is an important term. What is a frequency? It is nothing but the number of oscillations per second. Means in 1 second how many oscillations are completed by the object is called as the frequency of the sound of that object. Okay, so, that is the frequency of oscillation. Frequency is expressed in hertz. So, the unit for expressing frequency is hertz. Like how we use different units for length like meter, then for time, seconds, then for weight, kilograms, etc. Like that, frequency is expressed by using the unit hertz. How to write this hertz? Symbolically, it is written as Hz. H is capital and Z is in small case. A frequency of 1 hertz is 1 oscillation per second. So, when we say that the frequency of one of the oscillation is 1 hertz, means it completes only one oscillation per second. If an object oscillates 20 times in 1 second, what would be its frequency? So, see students, if the object completes only one oscillation per second, then the frequency is 1 hertz. But if the oscillations completed are 20 in 1 second, then what is the frequency? It is 20 hertz. You can recognize many familiar sounds without seeing the objects producing them, isn't it? By just sitting at one place, you can hear the different sounds coming from source and you can make differentiation between them, that particular sound is of particular object, even without going there and seeing them. How is it possible? Let us see. These sounds must be different to enable you to recognize them. So, the sound produced by different objects are different. Even the sound produced by human beings are also different from each other. That is why you are able to hear and identify the sound of your particular friend. Okay, so, which friend is coming to you? By listening that sound you recognize. Have you ever thought what factors make them different? So, the difference in the different sounds is due to amplitude and frequency. These are the two important properties of any sound. Just now we have seen about frequency. What is frequency? It is the number of oscillations completed per second, that is called as frequency. And let us see now what is an amplitude. Can we differentiate sounds on the basis of their amplitudes and frequencies? Definitely. We can differentiate the different sounds on the basis of their amplitudes and frequencies. Now, there are two more important concepts. They are loudness and pitch. You all must have heard this word, this term pitch. Generally, when you are singing, when you are taking part in any singing competition, that time it is instructed that sing in the high pitch or low pitch, etc. So, let us see what are these actually terms, loudness and pitch. For that, an activity is given, activity 13.11. Take a metallic tumbler. See, here one metallic tumbler is shown. Like that, you have to take a metallic tumbler and a tablespoon. Strike the tablespoon gently at the brim of the tumbler. So, you have to take one spoon, tablespoon, and at the brim of this tumbler you have to gently strike. It produces sound and you will be able to hear that sound, isn't it? Now, in the next part of the activity, what you have to do is, you first hear the sound produced by that spoon, then bang the spoon on the tumbler and hear the sound produced again. See, here there are two situations. In both the situation you have to use a metallic tumbler, then you have to take tablespoons. First, with the help of tablespoon, you have to hit the brim of the tumbler very gently and you have to hear the sound produced. Then in the second case you have to hit it hardly, means you have to bang the spoon on the tumbler and again hear the sound produced. Is the sound louder when the tumbler is struck hard? Yes, definitely. You can try this at home today. Okay, take one tumbler, any metallic glass, and take one spoon and try to differentiate between the sounds produced by hitting at different levels. Take one tablespoon and hit the glass very gently, then medium and then very hardly. Then you can differentiate the sound produced and you will find that when you strike the tumbler with the help of that metal spoon, tablespoon, hardly, you will hear a louder sound. Okay, now next part of that activity is you have to suspend a small thermocol ball touching the rim of the tumbler. So, that was just shown here in the figure. I will show you for reference. So, see here, this is a string to which one small thermocol ball is attached. Okay, so, thermocol ball touching the vibrating glass tumbler. So, let us see what to do with the help of that thermocol. Vibrate the tumbler by striking it. Okay, so, when you vibrate the tumbler by striking that thermocol ball, what will you observe? It will not produce sound, but when the thermocol ball hits the tumbler, it gets displaced, it come back. So, you have to see how far the ball is displaced, means till what distance the ball has moved away from the tumbler. The displacement of the ball is a measure of the amplitude of vibration of the tumbler. So, you have to check that after striking that ball, thermocol ball to the tumbler, how far it gets displaced, means how far it goes. So, that distance you have to measure, that is nothing but the amplitude of vibration of the tumbler. Now, strike the tumbler gently and then with some force. So, like how you have to do with the tablespoon, in the same way you have to use that thermocol ball and you have to strike the tumbler in two different ways, one gently and in second case with some force. Then compare the amplitudes of vibrations of the tumbler in the two cases. So, in both the cases, when you touch the thermocol ball gently and with some force, you will find that thermocol ball will get displaced. So, you have to see to how much far they get displaced, means you have to see the amplitude of the vibrations of tumbler in both the cases. In which case is the amplitude larger? Definitely when you hit the tumbler with some force. Okay, so, when you use that thermocol ball, when you hit it with some force, it moves away from the tumbler to more distance, and if you just gently hit that, it goes away from the tumbler to a very less small distance. So, when you hit hard with by applying some force, amplitude is larger. So, I hope you will do this activity definitely. Now, you must be thinking from where to bring the thermocol ball, because there is a ban on the thermocol, isn't it? So, if in case you do not have the thermocol ball, you can prepare a ball by using clothes or paper, and then you can try this activity. So, students, as I have told that this chapter is full of activities, and if you will do those activities, you will definitely enjoy the chapter very well. Okay, so now let us see the loudness. What is loudness? Loudness of the sound is proportional to the square of the amplitude of the vibration producing the sound. So, just now we have discussed that if the amplitude is more, then the sound is more loud, and if amplitude is less, then the sound is not so much loud. So, loudness of sound is directly proportional to the square of amplitude of the vibration producing the sound. Now, for example, if the amplitude becomes twice means 2 times. Okay, so, if the amplitude becomes 2 times, then the loudness increases by a factor of 4, because square of 2, that is 4. So, loudness is directly proportional to the square of amplitude. So, if the amplitude becomes double, twice, then the square of that 2 is 4. So, loudness increases by a factor of 4. The loudness is expressed in a unit called decibel. So, as we have seen that frequency of the sound is expressed by using a unit, that is hertz. In the same way, the loudness of sound is expressed in a unit called as decibel. In short, it is written as dB. So, while writing this dB, you have to see you have to take care that the first letter D is in small case and B is in capital. Okay. So, you have to write small d and capital B, whereas in hertz you have to write that first letter H capital and second letter Z in small case, and here the first letter D is in small case and the second letter B is in capital. Now, the following table gives some idea of the loudness of sound coming from various sources. So, all these sources are very familiar to you, and this table gives us the idea of the loudness of the source. Now, normal breathing, when we breathe normally, the loudness of that breathing sound is 10 decibels. Then soft whisper, at the distance of 5 meter, if you hear the soft whisper, the loudness of the sound coming from this is 30 decibels. Then normal conversation, when you talk normally with other people, the loudness of the sound is 60 decibels. Now, busy traffic, in the morning hours and evening hours you see that there is too much traffic on the road. So, during that time, during the busy traffic, the loudness of the sound is 70 decibels. And the last one is average factory. The average sound loudness of the sound from factory is 80 decibels, means till 80 decibels only that sound is allowed even in factories. Now, above decibels of 80, the noise becomes physically painful. See students, there is a difference in sound and noise. Sound is, as I have told, that it is very important, it plays a very important role in our daily life, and whereas if the sound becomes too much, if it crosses the loudness of 80 decibels, then it becomes noise, which is noise is also called as sound pollution, and it becomes physically painful. Not only physically, actually we get different problems. If you expose to very loud sound continuously, then you may get physical disturbance, emotional disturbance, mental disturbance, and so on. So, we should take care that the sound should not be very loud. When you play different loudspeakers or tape recorders, whatever at home, that time also you have to take care that the sound should not be more than 60 decibels at home, okay? Because 70 decibels is for busy traffic, even that is painful for us, and in factory it is 80 decibels, which is also painful. So, at home when you use different musical instrument, you have to keep the loudness of the sound up to 60 decibels. And if you play the loudspeaker, tape recorders, television, etc. at a louder sound, it affects other family members, especially the elders, isn't it? So, you have to take care. Now, the loudness of sound depends on its amplitude. So, as I have just told that amplitude means to how much distance the vibration moves in back and forth. Depending on that amplitude, the loudness is decided. When the amplitude of the vibration is large, the sound produced is loud. Okay. So, amplitude and sound both are proportional to each other, directly proportional to each other. If the amplitude of the vibration is large, sound produced is loud, and when the amplitude is small, the sound produced is feeble, means it is not loud. So, this is about the loudness of different sources. Okay. Compare the sound of a baby with that of an adult. Is there any difference? Surely. Surely after listening the sound you can identify that the sound is of baby or of any adult. Even if two sounds are equally loud, they differ in some way. Okay, if suppose the loudness of both the sounds are same, okay, suppose the loudness of a baby and an adult is about 60 decibels, then also there is a difference in their sounds. So, let us discuss Let us see how the sounds are different from each other. Okay, now here Bhujo is saying that I wonder why my voice is different from that of my teacher. So, if you compare your voices with your teacher's voice, you will also find the difference, isn't it? So, Bhujo is also having that question. He is also thinking that why his sound is different than the teacher's sound. So, let us see why there is a difference in the sound. The frequency determines the shrillness or pitch of the sound. So, students, here another factor, that is pitch, plays a very important role. It is the pitch because of which you can identify and differentiate different sounds. So, the frequency determines the shrillness or pitch of the sound. If the frequency of vibration is higher, we say that the sound is shrill and has a higher pitch. So, here frequency is directly proportional to shrillness or pitch. If there is more frequency of the vibration, then the sound is more shrill and it is of higher pitch. It is of higher pitch. If the frequency of vibration is lower, we say that the sound has a lower pitch. Okay, if frequency of the vibration is higher, it is high pitch, and if the frequency of sound is, the frequency of vibration is lower, then the sound is of low pitch. Now, for example, a drum vibrates with a low frequency. Therefore, it produces the sound of low pitch. So, you can see here in this picture, a boy is banging the drum. You can see here the frequency is shown. So, the frequency of such vibration is less. You can see here less number of oscillations got completed, means the frequency is less. And on the other hand, here in this second figure, what this boy is doing, he is blowing the whistle. So, here in this case you can see the frequency is higher, it has completed more number of oscillations. So, here frequency is higher, means here this produces a sound of high pitch. Here the drum produces a sound of low pitch and whistle produces a sound of high pitch. I hope it is clear to you. Okay, so, when a boy hits that drum, the frequency is low and that is why a low pitched sound is produced. On the other hand, a whistle has a high frequency and therefore, it produces a sound of higher pitch. Just now I have told about this and I have showed the figure also. So, if frequency is low, then pitch is also low. If frequency is high, then pitch is also high. Means they are directly proportional to each other. A bird makes a high pitched sound, whereas a lion makes a low pitched roar. So, the sound of a bird is high pitch and that of a lion is low pitch. However, the roar of the lion is very loud, while the sound of the bird is quite feeble. So, see here pitch and loudness both are different concepts, and here the sound of the lion is very loud. So, loudness is more, but the pitch is low, and whereas of the bird the loudness is less because it is feeble, but pitch is high. Every day you hear the voices of children and adults. Do you find any difference in their voices? Definitely. There is difference in the voice of a small child, then of a teenager and of an adult. We have already discussed that in the chapter number 10 that along with the age, the sound, that is the voice produced by human beings, gets changed. Can you say that the frequency of the voice of a child is higher than that of an adult? Yes. So, the frequency of a child is higher than that of an adult. Similarly, if you compare the voices of women and man, you will find that usually the voice of a woman has a higher frequency and is shriller than that of a man. So, if you compare the voices of women and men, you will find that women are having the voice of high frequency. So, it is more, their voices are more shrill and their voices are of high pitch, and similarly the frequency of men, frequency of sound produced by men, that is their voice of low frequency. So, they are not that much shrill and they produce the voice with low pitch. So, this is all about the different terms related to sound, that is frequency, amplitude, time period, then loudness and shrill or pitch. Now, let us move to next concept, that is audible and inaudible sounds. Now, there are so many sounds produced in the universe, on the earth, but we are not able to hear all the sounds. We able to hear the sounds when they are present in particular range of their frequencies. So, the sound which human being is able to hear is called as audible sound, and the sound which the human being is not able to hear is called as inaudible sounds. But there are other creatures which are able to hear the inaudible sounds, means the sounds are not audible to us but are audible to other creatures. Now, let us discuss about this in detail. We know that we need a vibrating body for the production of sound, isn't it? We have discussed in the beginning of the chapter that for the production of sound, the source of sound should be set into vibrations. So, a vibrating body is required for the production of sound. Can we hear the sound of all vibrating bodies? No. As I have told that we cannot hear the sound of all vibrating bodies. The fact is that sounds of frequencies less than about 20 vibrations per second, which is nothing but 20 hertz, cannot be detected by human ear. Okay, so if any source of sound is producing less than 20 vibrations per second, means if the frequency of the sound is less than 20 hertz, then we cannot detect that sound, we cannot hear that sound. So, such sounds are called as inaudible. On the higher side, sounds of frequencies higher than about 20,000 vibrations per second, means 20 kilohertz, are also not audible to the human ear. Okay, so below 20 hertz we cannot hear. Similarly, above 20,000 hertz frequency also we cannot hear the sound. So, it is also not audible. 20,000 vibrations means the frequency is 20 kilohertz. 1000 means 1 kilohertz. So, 20,000 vibrations, that is 20,000 hertz. 20,000 hertz is nothing but 20 kilohertz. That means we are able to hear the sound which is in the frequency range of 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Below 20 hertz the sound is inaudible, and above 20 hertz also the sound is not audible. So, thus for human ear the range of audible frequencies is roughly from 20 to 20,000 hertz. Is it clear? What is the audible range? 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. You can write this 20,000 as 20 kilohertz also, because 1000 hertz is equal to 1 kilohertz. So, students, today we have discussed the different concepts, the different terms related to the sound. We have seen that the sound depends on many factors. We have discussed about the frequency and amplitude of the sound. Similarly, we have discussed about time period. So, what is frequency? It is number of oscillations completed per second. What is amplitude? It is the distance to which the vibrating body moves. It is the disturbance actually. And time period means time period means for completing one oscillation how much time is required, that is called as time period. After that we have discussed about loudness and pitch of the sound. We have also started our discussion about audible and inaudible sound. Audible sound means it is the sound which the human being is able to hear, and the frequency of audible sound is between 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. And whereas inaudible sound means the sound whose frequency is below 20 hertz and above 20,000 hertz, that is about 20 kilohertz. But as I have said that there are some animals, some creatures who are able to hear the sound which are not in the audible range of human beings. We will discuss more about this in the next session. So students, I hope all of you will do those activities and enjoy the chapter. So read the chapter, mark the important points and do the activities. So here we will stop. Thank you.